everybody, and welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. It is Thursday, September 12th, 2024. I am TBob A-Bear. He is Aaron Murray. Massive thank you to everyone joining us on today's show. Huge support for the channel lately. We are so thankful. I think we're up to 22.5 now. So the road to 25 continues. Please, guys, help us continue to push, try to get there. Maybe by the weekend, or not by the weekend, excuse me. Maybe by the end of the month, we will see. I'm still on the road, so I guess actually y'all may not know this because I think I did Tuesday's show. No, I did Tuesday's show from home, but that was before I had left. I'm up in North Louisiana. I got out of the way of the hurricane. Thankfully, chill hurricane, which the majority of them are. This one didn't even have super bad power outages. Doesn't seem like no loss of life. Thankfully, great news. After this show, packing up the kids, heading back, and finally be back to the office and my happy place. Aaron, what's up, dude? How we feeling today, brother?
Dude, feeling good. Getting ready to head to Arkansas. I'll be on the call for UAB Arkansas this weekend on the SEC Network at 4:20 Eastern. So come check your boy out. Taylor Green's a freaking beast. Should be a fun little weekend. So glad to. The weather seems like it's getting away and should be dead for most of the games, especially in the Southeast this weekend. Like
Arkansas
Georgia,
should
Kentucky.
be good. I think it's bending and throwing its way eastward. Like I think LSU, South Carolina is actually supposed to have wind and rain. I
know Georgia, Kentucky originally was supposed to be rainy. Now it's like no rain in Lexington.
Okay, maybe not then. Yeah. I got to be honest, Aaron. I'm pretty weather agnostic. Like I never check it. I don't give a fuck about it. I live in Louisiana. I basically know it's going to be hot as shit. I know it's going to rain at some point, and like that's all that matters. Like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to carry an umbrella.
At what point did you find out there was a hurricane coming your way?
Shit. Monday something. I don't know. I mean, I was asking people. Like I looked up some things for the show, just to see. And then the only reason I left wasn't because I was worried about safety issues. I left because I just didn't want to be stuck. I'm kind of a smaller house. I did not want to be stuck alone without power in that house with those kids. Now we did end up losing power, which is great, but it was not worth the risk. Come up here. It's great. Tootie's. Oh my God. Tootie's up in here. That's my boy Trey. What up, dog? All right. So look, we got kind of one of our college football tapas shows for you today, as we have a bunch of, more kind of bite-size, share with your friends sort of options here, a bevy of different topics. We do have some good Thursday night football coming up tonight, which I'm actually looking forward to. This Arizona State, Texas State game, kind of sneaky good. We got the Backyard Brawl coming up this weekend. So we can talk about some of the games that we maybe didn't preview on our Tuesday show that we still want to get to. And there's some big news on the college front. News about the channel, Aaron? Should we wait to talk about that a little bit later?
Next week.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let's start here. Return of the pack. That's right, baby. The pack is back, sort of. As the Pac-12, it's announced today. I think Ross Dellinger, former LSU beat writer from back in the day, now Yahoo Sports main college football beat writer, very good at his job, very legitimate journalist. He broke the story that the Pac-12 is going to go from 2 to 6 teams as it adds Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State from the Mountain West Conference. Initial reactions here when you hear that news, Aaron?
I'm with Scott in the chat here. Just let it go. Let it go. I think he's thinking what I'm thinking of, like the Pac-12, just like let it go. And unless he's singing another song like you are now, it's like, I don't know, man. Like I maybe because I've written off the Pac-12 as like it's dead, buried, gone, finista, it's over with. And just don't know if like trying to add the juice of San Diego State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and Boise State really does a lot to me. Like, to me, they're still a group of 5 teams, and they're really good group of 5 teams, especially Boise State. You know, they've been really good, and San Diego State's had their moments too, but they don't have the brands, the traditions,
Hold on.
Enough to really move the needle for me to say like, oh my God, I now view the Pac-12 once again as it should be a Power 5 conference.
Whoa. If we were producing television, I would have told you that was going to be the climax of the discussion, right? Was can they get back to being Power 5? So you've gone ahead and like Shannon on IG Live, you've just nutted early and let people know that there's nothing that the Pac-12 can do that can get back to being a Power 5 conference.
No.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to answer that question. Let's explore it a little bit first. Here's my first reaction. Can we please put Stanford and Cal back in? Yeah. I don't even know what they're in. Are they in the ACC? I think
they're in the ACC.
What the fuck are we doing, dude?
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? Can Stanford and Cal go back to Pac-12 and we can just be like, all right, sorry, that was a weird fever dream sort of moment. Let's please just like let's just take backseat, okay? Put Stanford and Cal back in, which would actually put you to 8 teams. Now, to be an FBS conference, you have to get to 8 teams. So this is it will not stay a 6-pack, okay? The pack will stay in the gym until they achieve at least an 8-pack, with their final goal probably being around 10 or 12. Again, I doubt legally, paperwork-wise, that Stanford and Cal is realistic, but in a perfect world, they would be. I'm going to be fascinated to see the other targets that they go after. Now, before we explain what this means in the Pac-12, think about the Mountain West, bro. Here it is. Do they not know this is college football? The closest thing to Game of Thrones that we have in our current sporting territory? What a classic mistake. They let a fox in the hen house, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Here they saw this bedraggled stranger limp up to their doorway in the dead of night, looking poor and down in his luck. Please, we need somewhere to stay. Please, we need some help. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know what? Come inside. Let's work out a scheduling deal for a year. You know, Oregon State. Who else was left in there? Who's it?
Washington State.
Oregon State, Washington State. Y'all come in. You can schedule our teams. It'll be great. Next thing you know, fucking Mountain West wakes up. Jewels are gone. The finest chickens have been slaughtered and taken. The fattened calf is nowhere to be found. And the fucking bandits are already back in their next town. They got played hard, the Mountain West did. I feel for them, dude. Took all the best Mountain West teams from right underneath their nose.
I used to cover them when my first few years broadcasting with CBS, obviously with the SEC primetime game at 3:30, and then everything else was the Mountain West. So like I was going to cover Air Force and Colorado State and Nevada, New Mexico, and San Diego State, and UNLV, Wyoming. Like I was going to all those spots. So they do have a nice warm spot in my heart. It just, as I step back and look at, okay, who are you going to get next to get the 8 teams? It would make sense to just maybe sneak a couple more of the Mountain West teams, because what's the Mountain West going to do now? Like what's the Mountain West going to do now? Like if I'm left over, just like the Pac-12, if I'm Cal and Stanford, I'm not going to stay a part of the Pac-12. So I'm desperation. I'm going to the ACC, which makes no sense, but you kind of have to, because you want to be a part of a power conference. So if you are the Mountain West and you are Air Force or Nevada or New Mexico or UNLV, like what do you do in this situation? Do you take a significant pay cut to join the Pac-12 because they need more bodies? But then the Pac-12 just becomes the Pac-12 is just going to become a Mountain West with a new logo on it. Like that's all it is to me right now.
To be clear, it's not a pay cut. The reason why these schools made the switch is the deals that they have been presented with, both in their current form and in future form, reportedly. I don't know how they come up with this number, Aaron, but everything that I've read reporting-wise is that the Pac-12 TV deals are stronger, much stronger.
No. I'm talking about anyone going forward. I'm not talking about the 4 that just left. I'm talking about like the top 4 got the best deal. Now the next ones are feeling desperate because the Mountain West is kind of disappearing. They're willing to take it. Says similar to like no one has the SMU money, but SMU wanted to join a Power 4 conference. So they're willing to essentially buy their way in by not taking any of the TV revenue and join the ACC. None of these schools have deep pockets like that, but I could see the Pac-12 saying we need more bodies. If we do want to be a power conference, we'll take 2 more of you, but you're not going to get the same deal as the first 4.
Yeah, I could see that. God, I wonder
who else is left. Who else is left?
Check your mic real quick. Check your mic settings real quick.
No.
Yeah, who else is left? That's a great question, Aaron. But then again, the maybe the problem with that is like, I didn't even know that this was on the table, right?
No.
I thought the Pac-12 was just fully dead. Like, I had no idea that Boise was secretly having these backroom talks. So, like, is there a world out there where there are Power 4 teams that they're trying to lure back in there and trying to say?
I feel like all these deals are fairly new. These TV deals, once again, like it would be very expensive. It's already expensive for these Mountain West teams to leave for their standards of money. I know the payouts can be more, but to leave an ACC, a Big 12, an SEC, or Big 10 right now, would be significantly, like, it would hit pretty hard. Like, I'm going through the other conferences at the moment. Like, there is no one in the CUSA, Mountain West, that really moves the needle for me to them to get to 8, where I would look at that conference and say, like, oh my God, like, I can't wait to watch Pac-12 football again in 2027.
The American has some interesting options. I don't know if it makes any sense.
They're all East Coast, man. They're all East Coast.
Yeah.
So they get Tulsa, whatever, UTSA.
I mean, Texas TV markets have to be intriguing in these conversations. Tulane has
when you could be the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal Conference, and have Stanford and Cal. I guess you could be the Pac-12 and have teams from Texas.
Yeah, but like, I mean, come on. At a certain point, the money for these schools would have to become an issue in terms of travel and everything. For these smaller schools.
100%. It's going to eventually be a problem for non-football sports for Cal and Stanford too.
The funny thing about Cal and Stanford is they would probably love to go back to the Pac-12. They don't really give that much of a fuck about sports, like not in the way that like other schools do. They'd still be making fine money off it. But Jim Phillips, you got him fucked up if you think Jim Phillips let anybody out of the ACC. Once you're in there, you're locked in. Okay? You can't come out of here.
2036,
you think you're
baby.
leaving? If we let you leave, then Florida State and Clemson are out here. And that ain't happening, Jack.
Nope.
So guess what? Cal, Stanford, you should have held your water. You got nervous, you jumped into my ship, and now you're stuck with me. Unbelievable, dude. So the Mountain West gets red wedding. Stanford and Cal are being held hostage by the ACC and Jim Phillips. I mean,
and the Pac-12 still doesn't have a full conference. They still don't have a full.
Pac-12 is not even technically a football conference.
Yes,
college football is truly, truly fantastic. I'm with you though. I do think you would not. They would not have had that move though. Do you think those teams were moving? Because the TV revenue has to be significantly more once you become a power conference. So getting to 8+. But is there also like do you have to be voted back in too? Like, do you have to be accepted? Because you can't just get two shit schools in like the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 and ACC. Like, oh yeah, sure. Like, give them an automatic bid into the playoffs. No, you're back on. Then let's get at what I was originally going to paint as the climax of this conversation. Can they get back to being Power 5? And unfortunately, no. I'm with you, Aaron. I don't see it. I don't want to shut it down too hard here, but I don't see it. They could be very interesting. They could be the best Group of 5 conference potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't see a world in which they can reattain Power 5 status here. Now, it is going to be expensive for these schools to make these moves. Every Mountain West school has a $17 million exit fee, while the Pac-12 itself will be on the hook for an additional 10 to 12 million penalty fee per school they require as a part of the scheduling agreement struck with the Mountain West. So basically 4 schools leave. That's going to be about $40 to $48 million. The Pac-12 is going to have to pay the Mountain West, and the schools themselves will have to pay $17 million, which lets you know, though, Aaron, that the Pac-12 pitch is pretty strong.
Yeah.
For these smaller schools to swallow those fees and say, yeah, we'll make up for it on the back end. And look, from a branding standpoint, 108-year conference history. I mean, no matter what the quality of the teams are, Boise State in the Pac-12 sounds more legitimate than Boise State in the Mountain West. Like, branding does matter. I see where they're coming from with that. Chad is saying that maybe Stanford and Cal just struck a 2-year deal. Again, I don't know how it's possible knowing Jim Phillips, but if they did, then here's to hoping they could actually get back in here. But I thought we were done with realignment. But again,
no, really?
You're
what
only
made
one
you think
bad
we were
decision
done with
away.
realignment?
Well, I thought the next move was going to be ACC something. I did not, or to be fair, I thought the Mountain West would absorb the Pac-12 and just welcome in the two teams, right?
Yes.
And maybe they would merge the branding. But again,
I'm just interested to see the whole TV deal thing, because at the end of the day, these deals are based off of views. And why did the Pac-12 die in the first place? They weren't generating money enough to create a sort of deal to keep up with the SEC and the Big Ten. Why is a TV person would I pay more money or good money for essentially absorbing the Mountain West?
Because relativity matters. The Pac-12 was failing relative to the biggest of dogs, but relative to normal TV, they were killing it. They were doing numbers in time slots where nobody else is doing numbers. They're still averaging like 1 million viewers here, 1 million viewers there. That you can't sell that to keep up with, the 80 to 100 million or whatever per school that the Big Ten and everything's getting. But
they were doing those numbers with USC and Oregon and Washington. They will not hit those numbers with Boise State and
I think they'll hit
everyone
enough.
Else has joined. That's the difference.
They'll hit enough.
That's the difference.
They can still monetize it in a way that makes sense. I mean, even the ACC doesn't do gangbuster numbers, but look at the money, look at the TV contract variables.
Of Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN, who is going to buy the rights to this? Who wants to buy the rights?
I think all of them would be interested because the price is going to be relatively low. It's good bang for your buck. And
I guess CBS had the rights to the Mountain West, so now all of a sudden CBS is like, well, that's dead in 2 years, and if we want to keep more than just the number 3 Big Ten football game of the week, then CBS would make the most sense.
Yeah, and I mean, look, maybe not ESPN because Disney's going through it right now, and they're very hesitant to want to spend. But no, I don't know much about economics, obviously. But like we've talked about enough topics on this show where I do believe you could absolutely monetize this to a way that makes sense for all party involved. It just feels like you can't because you're comparing it to the Big Ten and the SEC. You don't need that money to be making better money than what you were making in the Mountain West.
But what is the difference right now between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West besides Oregon State, Washington State?
The brand. I told you brand matters. The brand. The Pac-12 is a much larger. Boise in the Pac-12 feels way more legitimate than Boise in the Mountain West.
It feels like just putting lipstick on the pig. It's the same damn thing. You're putting a little something on it, but to me, it doesn't move the needle. That's just my feeling. To me, it feels like I'm going to be watching the Mountain West, but just with a different logo. Does not change it to me.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
We'll find out.
With more money comes.
I don't think more people are going to watch Boise State because they're in the Pac-12 than if they're watching them for the Mountain West. I'll tell you that. As an average fan, does now all of a sudden Boise State in the Pac-12 excite you more to watch Boise State than it did a day ago when they're in the Mountain West?
In a stupid lizard brain sort of way, yeah, it does. And like, and I'm an idiot. I'm kind of like, whoa, look at that. Oh, Pac After Dark, Boise's on. Okay, Pac After Dark is back. What about this? We have Tuesday night Maction. What about a little Wednesday night Paction? Takeover Wednesday. Okay, you can play this thing pretty creatively. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but again, I think there's no way they get to be Power 5. But you can monetize this. Sports are literally the only thing keeping live television alive. So anytime you have something that you have enough people that you want to watch, you're going to take that opportunity. And in theory, over time, with more money comes more investment. If they strike better TV deals in the Mountain West, the schools have more money. They can spend more money. The programs get bigger and bigger and better. And maybe over time they get really good. Look at SMU. All of a sudden they're trying to fucking parade around like they're a Power 5 team. You didn't think SMU was
they are situated well in this age because they get plenty of money.
Yeah, okay, but you didn't think SMU was a Power 5 team until they slapped some branding on them. So they got a little Big 12 attached to their name. How's that any different than Boise besides the quality of opponent? If they can get a Stanford and Cal back and maybe a couple, like, there's a little
It's a
life
bunch
here
of
and back.
hypotheticals. Like if like.
Yeah, well, obviously the pitch is strong if you're getting Boise and company to fucking bail.
Because the pitch is just money. So yeah, for them, it's great. I'm saying for the average viewer, to me, it's the same damn thing. You have to, I do like what you said. To me, you have to think outside the box. You have to have weekday games. You have to have Friday night games. You can't just slab Boise State and some of these teams and just put them in a Saturday slate and think people are going to watch it just because it's the Pac-12 now.
Tommy says, I don't think of SMU as a Power 4 team. I forget every week. I do too, Tommy. Trust me. I do too, dude. I'm right there with you. So pretty fascinating, dude. Paction, 6-pack, back, sort of. Not technically a football conference yet. Sort of back, though. Realignment, back. Backstabbing, back. A lot of things back with the pack. All right, let's spin the lazy Susan here, guys. And I want to take a trip into the realm of mathematics and analytics. Paction would go hard. Not going to lie, says Chris Tran. I know that's our boy. What up, CT? Again, perfect example. UCF does not feel like a Power 4 team until all of a sudden they're in the Big 12. Cincinnati does not feel like Power 4. So all you need is a chance. All you need is a chance, Aaron Murray. Cal and Stanford immediately makes it all feel a little more legitimate.
Yeah, but the Big 12 never died. Like, we have to resurrect the Pac-12. The Pac-12 was dead. There's no Pac-12.
The Big 12 was bleeding out there for a minute.
They were bleeding out, but they were never declared dead. We declared the Pac-12 as dead. Yeah. So it's a lot of work to bring it back into
you. It's that meme of the guy from the hospital bed texting, "I lived, bitch." Yeah, that's the Pac-12. Looking at you, little Mountain West hoe. So
Chris Tran, some say the UCF saved the Big 12.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, by some, I guess you mean you right now in this instance. But technically, that's correct. Like, you could say somebody said that. All right. Let's talk Bill Connolly, S&P Plus, and what the scene looks like between 2 weeks. First off, if you don't know what S&P Plus is, it's Bill Connolly's system he's made and tweaked for years. He started at Football's Outsiders. Of course, he now works for ESPN. All it is a measure that seeks to reward good play. And it is opponent adjusted. It is tempo adjusted. And it's predictive. So it doesn't really give a damn about the results. It more cares about play to play. How good are you? Like, if you get unlucky and win, the system will not actually benefit you that much. If you get unlucky and lose, like you play well, but you have a couple far odd things happen and you lose, you're not going to get dinged that much. If you don't play well, but you get lucky and win, you will get dinged. So it doesn't really care about results. It cares about like play by play. Anyway, I find it's a very fascinating way of analyzing teams and kind of the gaps between them. And the picture that it's painting through 2 weeks is pretty interesting. The gap between number 1 UGA and number 10 Miami is the same amount as the gap between Miami and number 41 WVU. So what does this tell us? We are very top heavy right now. Okay. The top 10 are separated unto themselves. Really, the top 5, even more so. And then everything else is kind of up for grabs. Okay. And the first thing that jumped out to me, let me go ahead and share our document here so y'all can see what I am talking about. This is just the top 10 that we're going to look at here. The first thing that jumps out to me here, and obviously Georgia, 32.8 rating, over 2 points above Ohio State at second place. They're clearly a cut above. Look at S&P Plus, still firm believers in Alabama. Yeah, even after the South Florida performance and what's been a bit of a shaky start. Texas coming in right behind Alabama, and
that's surprising. Texas is behind Bama.
I agree.
I think to me, Texas has been probably the hottest team to start the season. Right?
Well, and then look at Ole Miss and Tennessee. Ole Miss a full points ahead of Tennessee, despite Tennessee having a 51-10 NC State win on their resume, and Ole Miss not playing perfect, but not really having played anyone.
The biggest surprise, I guess, if you would have told me 3 weeks ago that this would be, if like you just showed me this list, I'd be like, you're freaking crazy. Oregon at 21.3 is just, it's still hard to wrap my mind about how excited I feel like everyone was buying into Oregon. And obviously, like, listen, they're still undefeated. So Oregon's not dead by any means, but like we were all expecting them to be more of that, kind of in the same conversation as Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, kind of anywhere from 29 plus in this grouping. And
yeah, I want to look at the final. Let's see where Oregon ranked to show you how much damage has been done. Preseason, Aaron, Oregon was 3rd in the S&P Plus with a 29 rating. Mm-hmm. So they have fallen from 29 to 21. They have fallen from 3rd to 9th place there. In terms of the big movers that have jumped up, Ole Miss started the season at 8. They've now jumped all the way up to 5. Tennessee started at 15. They've now jumped all the way up to 6. Miami started at 19. They've jumped all the way up to 10. So you're starting to see things take shape a bit here. And again, look at how it's kind of playing out how we said it would in terms of the SEC, right? Mm-hmm. We had our Georgia, Alabama, Texas tier. Then we had our Ole Miss, Tennessee, Mizzou tier that we had LSU in. But remember preseason, we said, which of those 4 teams is most likely to fuck up? And we landed on LSU, and here they are. They're out of the picture completely, right? So still pacing. Would you, in terms of the 4 SEC playoff teams, Georgia and Texas, I feel like are locks. Who would be your next 2 right now?
So Georgia, Texas to me are locks. I think those 2 are in. If I had to pick my next 2, it'd probably be Ole Miss, Tennessee. I think right now, based on what we've seen from Tennessee and Alabama, I think Tennessee beats Bama in Knoxville whenever they play.
Is Mizzou going to go like 11-1 or 10-2 and get left out because of a group of 5 team? Because that's going to be a
because like wasn't like Ole Miss, Missouri have the same type of schedule. Very, very similar schedule wise. I think Ole Miss is just a tad bit better than Missouri. So I think it's going to be hard for Missouri to jump Ole Miss unless they somehow get a better record by the end of the season. But I mean, you look at Ole Miss's schedule, it is as favorable can get. Like this team should be 11-1 when they end the season. So all equal, Ole Miss will be ahead of Missouri at the end of it. And I think Tennessee's going to get that win versus Alabama from what we've seen the first 2 weeks. So I would say Georgia 1, Texas 2, actually like 1A, 1B, honestly. Like Georgia's a tougher schedule, so I could see Texas maybe moving past them just based on the fact that Georgia has to play Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, and Tennessee still left this season. So Texas may move into that number 1 spot.
But they're both locks for the playoff.
But still locks. And then I would say Ole Miss is my next lock, and then Tennessee's my number 4 after that.
And here you can see they also do conference rankings here, where each team gets their point rating, and it's how many points you would give up against a median FBS team, how many points you would score against a median FBS points team, and the difference therein. SEC with a 16.8 compared to the Big Ten in second place, 10.5, and then the Big 12 drops all the way down to 6.7. So analytically, the SEC far and above on a different level.
Look at the new Pac-12. Look at the new Pac-12 at number 7. I mean, doesn't that get you really excited?
I mean, look, you had Oregon State and Wazoo there. Look, I didn't say they were a Power 5 conference, dude. Okay. The Pac is back. You can hate it. CUSA, worst in the country. I'm surprised that the Sun Belt's beating the AAC, actually. I'm a big, I guess it's basically even. It's -7.5, -7.6. But whatever. There are your conference rankings. SEC far and above, looking like the monster of the room, even separating from the Big Ten. And the Big 12, which started to pass up the ACC last year, has basically solidified that.
Which is crazy because we
Power 4.
We went over the rankings yesterday, non-conference games, and everything seemed pretty equal. So to see this being so SEC heavy is
Bro, look at the AP.
Shocking.
No. We went over. Yes, we went over out of conference record right now.
Yes.
And basically everybody's 500. But the big dogs are so heavy in the SEC. I mean, what, 6 of the top 7 in the AP right now are SEC?
Yep.
I believe. Eventually they got to cannibalize themselves a little bit. Eddie Nana says number 1 Georgia at number 2 Texas going to be lit. Horns up. Oh wait, hold on. I got a little bit of my winner. Horns up. Bevo will be waiting for Uga. Oh yeah, didn't Bevo almost kill Uga that one time?
He did in the
Before
Sugar
they beat
Bowl.
Georgia.
Uh-oh,
dude.
I want to go to this chat real quick. CK says this system needs a 5th column for Lane Kiffin factor. Ole Miss way too high. If your team has Lane Kiffin coaching, it's -2. Unless proven otherwise. Have we not watched Ole Miss for 2 years now and what Lane has done?
They would have made a 12-team playoff 2 of the last 3 years. 2 of the last 3 because they had the one weird down year in between. But still, 2 of the last 3 with 2 different quarterbacks. He would have made it with Matt Corral. Then he had the down year to year 1 with Dart. Then he would have made it last year with Dart. And have you seen Jackson Dart's stats right now, guys? He's averaging over 14 yards per attempt. Per attempt. Now that is that is unsustainable. That is like I mean that like
87% completion.
But they're playing perfect football. Like that's why they're so high on S&P Plus. Even though they played no one, they're still playing no one perfectly. You gotta stop hating on Lane Kiffin. He has done things at Ole Miss that were deemed to be impossible. He has done things at Ole Miss that had never been done before in terms of the 10-win seasons, 11-win season, first time in school history last year. You could, George says, imagine playing against Air. That's the thing. You could play against Air and not put up as good a stats as Jackson Dart's putting up right now. Like that's how high his execution's been.
You think this is true that Longhorns view dogs as predators?
Bevo looked like he was ready to fucking murder Uga. I mean, and in terms of intimidating dog breeds, nobody's scared of a bulldog. Those inbred deliverance-looking motherfuckers with their smush faces, they're just huge bevy of health problems.
Snoring. Oh, so many.
They are an affront to God. They are some of the first examples of genetic engineering gone wrong. They're like basically they're the domino, the meme with all the dominoes that ends in the big domino. Bulldogs start what ends in Jurassic Park. Like we should not try to play God, and that's what we've done with Bulldogs, and now they're just all fucked up. I don't know what to tell you.
You see Bulldog, the OG Bulldogs, not the French Bulldogs, but like the English Bulldogs. With
I love an old English Bulldog.
Like the original version. They're actually fit.
Oh,
they're like working dogs.
Yeah.
And they've just done the love them. They're just so cute. You want to squeeze them. They're so cute.
If Uga was a human, it would be one of those people that you look at and they make you uncomfortable. Just in like, oh God, are they okay?
No. Like as long as he's not in the heat, when he's in his little doghouse with the AC, he's very cute. Just don't have him exercise.
Heavy mouth breathing, a little bit of a lisp. Let's go, dogs. I'm very excited for the game today. Watch out, people. We're coming for you. I'm sweating so bad. And they're like ripping a vape. Just disgusting. You're way too unhealthy to be vaping. Your heart's going to stop any moment. They're like Darren Harkonnen from Dune. Just morbidly obese, but they're so powerful. They have all their underlings. Just like that's Uga. He has all of his underlings just fucking propping him up as he's allowing his nephew to slaughter prostitutes left and right.
He used to sit in front of me because I'd sit in the front of the plane, and he would travel with us
sometimes. On the plane?
Yeah. He would shit himself the entire plane ride. It would smell awful. Because we'd get on there and we all eat like a meal. And look, he's outside the plane eating a McDonald's hamburger. I'm like, this ain't right, bro. You can't be giving this dude a hamburger before we get on the plane. And he was just gassing up the whole place. And I'm sitting right behind him.
Oh my God,
like,
dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. That's exactly okay. So yeah, you just proved my exact point. Uga Harkonnen right there.
Yep.
Royal Payne says Kiffin's just 3-15 against top 10 teams in his career. Yeah, but where's he been at, guys? Where's he been at? Like, Let him place let him face a couple top 10 teams here with this Ole Miss team and TV can't snag a win somewhere. Chad, I will not tolerate the Uga slander. I know I'm attacking your god. I get it. Hey, how about the Thursday? I don't know. Say it.
Hamburger.
No, I don't think so. No, I'm gonna give you a pass there. You know, I jump on anything that you say weird. What did you used to say? What did you used to say? Well, I'll figure it out. Arizona State at Texas State tonight, Thursday night, 7:30. Sneaky good. Both teams 2-0. Texas State may be looking like one of the group of 5 favorites to be a playoff team. Arizona State picked to finish 13th in the Big 12, and yet, again, now they have a dominant win over Wyoming, which it wasn't even close, and they beat Mississippi State, a little SEC win. Kenny Dillingham. Is he getting something going there in Tempe? How about this? Both schools are notorious party schools, and tonight, Texas State is throwing an ESPN primetime party blackout. That's right, baby. They're pushing ESPN primetime. It's a blackout at the stadium. They're going to hand 5,000 glow sticks to the student section. I think this is going to be a pretty fun night today.
I love their head coach. I had their bowl game last year in G.J. Kinney. Very tough name to pronounce. G.J. Kinney, their head football coach. I actually had him in a playoff game 2 years ago. Whatever, one of those the smaller conference playoffs. You know what I'm talking about. Had him there, was phenomenal. Had him last year in the bowl game, phenomenal, incredible offense, a lot of fun to watch. Like if you just like offensive football, watch the football game for their offense. It is unbelievable what they do there. He will not be there long. He'll probably ball out this year, get to 8+ wins, maybe be that group of 5 team, and then he'll take a group of 4 job somewhere.
World Pages, Texas State should get the invite to the new 6-pack if they beat Arizona State tonight. Yeah, man, play for your invite. Pink slips on the line. Actually, Royal Payne, or who made a good point? Yeah, it was Royal Payne. He says when the Pac-6 becomes the Pac-8 and is an FBS conference again, that would actually be a really good year to explore a G5 playoff. And I could not agree more. A G5 playoff would be 1,000 times.
Would you remove the number 1 G5 team from the?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
A G5 playoff would be 1,000 times more interesting than what we have currently, and it would be a legitimate.
Would you view it though as like the NIT though?
No. So that's what I was getting to. Not at all, because these are all teams operating on the same level. NIT, they're the best teams on that level. NIT teams are bad teams in a sport where we see constantly you can overcome size differences, fiscal differences, population differences. It doesn't work like that in football. We know that. Maybe 1 in a million. But every single year in basketball, we see these upsets. We've seen Coastal Carolina win a natty in baseball. Okay? Those are different sports. Clearly, when you operate a different tier in football, it's just unfair. The G5 team in these 12-team playoffs is maybe going to win 1 every 4 years. Something along those lines. How much
win one game? Win one game.
I mean, yeah. And they'll never win a championship. So how much more fascinating would it be if we had?
Do you watch the playoffs with like Montana and the FCS?
I watched like the semifinals and shit. I remember you on the call for the semifinals last year.
I was just like, what to know that? Obviously, I think this would get better views. I just don't know what those views are for those playoffs.
Again, it doesn't have to be the 10 to 12 million. You get a million or 2 and we making money, baby. No, I agree, dude. Make a G5 playoff. Absolutely.
Right. So what is this talk about Unk, by the way? What did he say?
Oh, no, Shannon accidentally went live on IG while having sex.
Oh, that a boy. How the hell do you accidentally go live on IG? How do you actually go live?
No video. I don't know. No video, but audio. You can hear it all. And I was listening to it. I didn't listen to the whole 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it was. I listened to part of it. I think my guy, I know I made a joke about him nutting early. I think my guy was actually doing pretty good work. She sounded like she was having a great time. He's breathing heavy and growling all up on her. It seemed like a lot of fun. Like it seemed like good sex. But yeah, Unk went live. And a lot of people are like, look at what happened to Paul Pierce. Okay, guys, here's the deal. First off, that was an accidental live. He originally tried to claim that he got hacked, and he had to go on Nightcap and say, no, I was not hacked. That was an accidental live. And Paul Pierce, okay, two things. First off, Paul Pierce went live on purpose, smoking blunts while getting lap dances from strippers. Fucking boss move. Like, I'm not mad at you, Paul, but obviously ESPN's going to feel some type of way about that. Also, the level of investment that ESPN had in Paul Pierce compared to Shannon Sharpe is the earth to the sun, right? Yeah. I mean, Shannon Sharpe is the heir apparent for ESPN right now. He is the next big guy. He is
he is the big guy.
He is the volume. He is the volume entirely. He is everything to multiple major companies. Yeah. Like I said, I think he's the whole reason. And I love Unc. And so I don't mean this in a negative way. Because I think Nightcap, I think Ocho Cinco and him are incredible. But that's the whole reason the volume said, fuck us. It's because they realized, why are we trying to pay these smaller shows and make something out of nothing when we could just pay way more up front, but we get immediate massive views because this guy is a superstar. So whether it's Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, him going on First Take every day, Shannon is miles larger than Paul Pierce ever was. So he is not getting fired for this. Absolutely not. Maybe if there were visuals, but it's just audio. Some people are, CJ says the gay rumors are now dead. The conspiracy is that he did it to thwart the homosexual rumors.
I didn't even know those were going around with him.
I mean, bro, it's the fucking internet. I think you can probably find rumors about whatever you want, you know? Yeah. It did. See, Ashley Megan says, Uncle was having sex with a nice lady and it was respectful and it did sound nice. Uncle was laying it the fuck down with those old hips and joints. He was, dude. I'm telling you. I mean, hey, Ashley, let's not sleep on those hips and joints. There's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of testosterone in those hips.
That's a big man. That is a big, big man.
I mean, also, like, he's on the tee. Absolutely. As I will be when I get to be 45, 50 plus. Like, of course. Get on the tee. Get jacked, dude.
Unc.
Yeah. Shout it on. Go look it up after the show. Other games.
No one's in the house right now. Kids are at school. Wife's at work. So take the headsets off and watch it, I guess.
Oh, I didn't tell you to jerk off to it. I just said, Jesus, oh my God, what? Anyway, this Saturday, another game I'm looking forward to that we didn't talk about. Backyard Brawl is back, dude. West Virginia, Penn State. Or excuse me, West Virginia, Pittsburgh. Sorry, West Virginia, Pittsburgh. Relax. This is one of the greatest rivals of all time.
I know you want the rematch for your boys against Penn State, but it's been there, done that. So
no, I told you I know I ended up like picking West Virginia, but I told you all summer long, Penn State beat the fuck out of them last year. They're probably going to be the fuck out of them again this year. Like, there's nothing surprising with that. If Neil Brown loses this game, people going to be pissed. Because because you're right, a lot of people did start to give themselves over to Penn State. To West Virginia before that game. Remember, McAfee show goes there. They cancel school on Friday. Everybody's all fired up, and then they just had a wet fart of a game. Yeah, but they got to win Saturday at Pitt. Got to win Saturday at Pitt.
I think everyone had to be somewhat like you. You got your doors blown off a year ago by them.
Yeah.
I guess it's more like they just looked bad. They lost, which you can tolerate the losing because, everyone's
they didn't make it
close.
It, but people wanted to fight. It was at home.
Yes.
And when they lost last year, we thought they were garbage. Then they ended up going 9-4, should have been 10-3. So the perception of them was vastly different going into this one. Whatever, though. Right now, they have to beat Pitt. These two teams hate each other. The first time they played was in 1895. It's coal miners versus steel workers. It's city versus country. How about this? You want a little trivia nugget, Aaron, and all of our wonderful listeners? If anybody ever asks you what was the first ever college football game broadcast on radio, you can tell them it was the 1921 Backyard Brawl between Pitt and WVU. How about that? The first ever CFB game on radio.
Well, and I'll tell you this, for West Virginia, you talk about a must-win situation. You look at their schedule going forward. The next 5 games are Kansas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, who just beat Iowa, Kansas State, and then Arizona.
Yeah.
So you are at risk of not just starting the season off 1-2, but if it doesn't look like it's anywhere near corrected, you're getting the meat of the schedule right now. You better figure it out. You better start stacking them wins.
I agree. This is a must win for Neil. He desperately needs this. Just for morale, because you can accept a couple losses if you beat Pitt. And never forget, Pitt is what held West Virginia back from the 7-4, in 07 from going to the national championship. It was a 4-7 Pitt team that beat them in Morgantown to stop them. Absolutely brutal. What's the deal with the green screen, TBob? Well, I'm actually in North Louisiana right now. I'm not even in front of a green screen. Normally I am in front of a green screen. I don't have a good office setup. Like Jake's got all of his jerseys behind him. Aaron's got all of his trophies and helmets and everything. I don't have a good setup right now. I like
one more game we didn't talk about real quick. Are you worried at all for Oregon? No, not Friday night. Oregon State. Are you worried at all? It's going to be hostile as hell.
Yeah, in Corvallis.
Beaver Stadium's going to be nuts. Those fans are pissed off as hell at Oregon already.
Dan Lanning's
and Oregon's looked bad the first 2 weeks. Like
Dan Lanning's 1-1 against Oregon State in this rivalry. Lost year 1, won year 2. Yeah, I'd be terrified if I'm an Oregon fan. There's not an opponent on my schedule that I wouldn't be a little bit worried about right now. You just played Idaho, who I just figured out is an FCS team. How about that? I didn't know that. They drop back down. Teams never do that. You just played Idaho and you played Boise State, and you're averaging 3.1 yards per carry. You're giving up 5.1 per carry. Last year, you were second in the country in yards per play. This year, you're 75th. So you can give me Dylan Gabriel's volume stats, but the bottom line is they have not been nearly as successful on a
Oregon State wants to run the damn football. I mean, they themselves are getting 5.5 yards per carry. Like Griffin and Hankerton are going to run right down your damn throat. Like you don't think they smell blood a little bit for Oregon right now and just say, hey, try and stop us.
Yeah. And these are the motherfuckers that forced us into the Pac-6.
I know.
These traitorous duck bastards who left to go take the 30 silver coins of the Big Ten. Yeah. And plus, so Oregon State, I can't remember his name, when Jonathan Smith leaves for Michigan State, who's he already done well. That was a good win last week. I know you don't like Ada Chili's, but you're going to be eating your fucking words. Trust me.
I'm not saying I don't like him. You've pumped them up way too much.
I haven't. No, I haven't. Just wait.
Way too much, way too early.
Just wait. You know who else they said I pumped up? Chappell Roan. What did she just do? Won Best Artist at VMAs, Best New Artist. Nice. You know who else I pumped up? John Baptiste. What did he do later that year? Went 5 for 5 at the Grammys, including Best Album of the Year. Okay, I'm called it now. I am not pumping. You were going to be like, Ada Chili's is really good by the end of the year. Okay.
We'll find out.
No, that's my knee, guys. That's not my foot. Anyway, Oregon State hired their defensive coordinator. I can't remember his name, but this is a cat who played at Oregon State. He has 12 years coaching there, including being the DC for the last 2.5 years. He knows what this game means to that town.
Yep.
He knows what the game. I don't know if he can keep the success long-term that Jonathan Smith had created, but he can keep it short-term. So yeah, I would be terrified if I was,
it is a 16.5 point line. I would take Oregon State all day with that.
Yeah, until Oregon proves it. Like if I lose that bet, I'm like, okay, whatever. Good on you, Oregon. You finally proved it. But you've given me nothing to believe in through 2 weeks. I mean, you needed 2 special teams touchdowns last week?
Yeah. Beat Boise State 37-34, and then Idaho was horrific 24-14.
Now
both of those were at home. Home in Eugene.
And now they got to go to Corvallis in a revamped stadium.
Yeah.
Now, Oregon did struggle on the road, admittedly, though, against Texas Tech last year before getting really good. So, allow room for improvement, certainly. But I'd be worried. I mean, we haven't even talked about Friday night, dude. We got Arizona at Kansas State. Number 20 versus number 14. Noah Fafita and Teddarova McMillan versus Avery Johnson. And I don't know any weapons for the Wildcats. But, I mean, you get the point. Like, that's a good game, dude. I'll say this. I'll say this. Avery Johnson is very exciting after watching that Tulane game. And credit to him for making plays for that Kansas State team for finding a way to come back and win in a tough, or that wasn't that tough, but in Yeoman Stadium on the road. Avery Johnson just doesn't trust his arm enough right now.
No,
he's just all legs right now.
He's all runner.
Yeah,
all runner. What did Tulane do throwing the football again? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Gary Minson did great, dude. It was his coming out party.
So I'm saying 342
redshirt freshman.
Oh.
Now they got Tedaro. I'm choosing the Wildcat. God, I keep saying Wildcats. They're eating the cats. I'm choosing.
Kansas State's a 7-point favorite.
I know. I'm saying I'm going Arizona money line.
I would go Arizona money line too.
Money line.
I would go Arizona money line too.
And McMillan. And I get it. Kleeman's way more proven. Kansas State been at this for a while now. But I think Arizona, I think they're being a bit undervalued here because of the speed bump that was Northern Arizona. I think they were looking ahead. I like them here.
I'm with you. God, it's good to have Thursday and Friday football back. And like quality football too. Not just like, tuning on until you fall asleep, but like actually something you want to stay up and watch.
What is the over under here? Because DGD says smash that over. I want to know what it is.
60.5.
I mean, what Tulane ended up like 30-something to 30-something.
Mm-hmm.
If I would play it, I would play the over. I don't know if I'm going to play it.
I'm definitely playing. I'll throw in with you. I'll go money line Arizona.
Hell yeah. Here's a fun fact. So Wyoming. This comes from Ryan McGee's bottom 10. I always think about Wyoming. Now, last year when they played Texas, well, I guess I realized they were an FBS team, but I always think about them being an FCS team, right? Whereas Idaho, I always think about being an FBS team. I just found out today that Idaho reclassified and went down, which nobody ever does, to the FCS, which great move on their part. They have an awesome stadium for it. They get to play in the playoff now. It's a really smart idea. Where Wyoming's FBS, meaning last week was an FCS over FBS upset. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
We rarely see it. Shout out Idaho.
On the road, 17-13.
Shout out the Vandals. All right.
We'll be doing our weekend show this weekend on Saturday night after the games, not Sunday morning.
Aaron's going to be flying back Sunday morning, so we can't do Sunday morning. We will do Saturday night. I am so excited.
I'm guessing probably post Georgia, Kentucky.
Oh God, we're going to have to live react to a murder.
Yes, and talk about how good Georgia is and that they've, clearly separated themselves even from Texas after beating Kentucky.
My favorite part was when Mark Stoops was bleeding out of his rectum and Kirby refused to acknowledge it and just kept pounding away. That was definitely the best part of the night for me personally. George says no gaming. Are you traveling tomorrow, Aaron?
I am.
Okay.
Do you have your system right now?
We'll get back. No, I gotta get. No, I was gonna say no. I'm at. No, I don't have it right now. It's all at the office.
We may be back Wednesday, depending on certain things that are happening with the channel, which we will update you next
week.
We
were getting away for the gaming for some things. We may have to be getting a bit back into it. There'll be news on that front coming up. Just know this, guys. There's a lot of motherfuckers that want to keep you all ignorant. Okay. Yep. And we don't want to do that. We want to help fight against that. We want to bring the light of knowledge to our friends, our family, and unfortunately, a lot of people just want to keep us down. Mm-hmm. But all you need to know is that if you too want to share that light, tell all of your friends about snaps, your enemies about snaps, the girls and gals that you're chatting up at the local library, the local watering hole. You go to take a piss, you see the person in the stall next to you, be like, hey man, you like college football? You ever heard of snaps? And just help spread the good word because we love doing the show and it's so much fun getting a little momentum here. Yeah, the Discord's up. I need to make a new pinned tweet with all of the links, including the Discord link. It's a fun place to hang out on the weekends for sure. All right, guys. We love you, and we'll see you Saturday night for a brand new episode of Snaps.